NTIA issues a 90-day BEAD final proposal extension. Project Kuiper just days away from its inaugural LEO satellite launch. A new click-to-cancel regulation should make it easier to cut the cable or broadband cord, and Stone Peak will invest $1.5 billion to build more than 100 data centers. Those stories and more on This Week in the Broadband Universe. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Craig Corbin. The National Telecommunications and Information Administration this week announced a 90-day programmatic waiver or extension to the BEAD program final proposal deadlines. NTIA indicated the move was designed to, quote, remove unnecessary rules and mandates to improve efficiency, take a more technology-neutral approach, and cut unnecessary red tape along with streamlining deployment, end quote. The announcement added that the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Communications and Information determined that additional time will be needed in order to implement forthcoming programmatic improvements. No word yet on when additional guidance will be released. An investigation has been launched into a failed municipal fiber optic project in Lovelock, Nevada, which resulted in millions of dollars that are unaccounted for. The United States Attorney's Office will probe allegations of misappropriation of funding for the high-speed broadband project, which came from both the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Nevada Department of Transportation. USDA terminated its contract with fiber optic company Uprise after reports that $9 million in state money allocated for the project had vanished. $27 million had been pledged for the Lovelock project, which ground to a halt when subcontractor ComNV sued both NDOT and Uprise for non-payment. According to reports, bank records showed that the owner of Uprise, Stephen Cromer, withdrew nearly all the money from the company's account back in 2024, with only a small portion of construction on the project complete. The USDA field audit in March of this year revealed significant contract violations, including failure to meet matching funds requirements. Amazon's inaugural fleet of Kuiper 1 internet satellites have a new launch date, April 28th. A total of 27 satellites for the Project Kuiper constellation slated to ride into orbit courtesy of an Atlas V rocket liftoff at 7 p.m. from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. The mission, named Kuiper 1, the first of 83 planned launches with an aim to position better than 3,200 satellites into orbit to provide high-speed internet from space. The inaugural launch has been delayed for weeks due to a lack of range availability. Project Kuiper does have a bit of catching up to do as SpaceX continues its torrid pace of placing Starlink satellites into orbit. This week, the 47th Falcon 9 mission of the year put 28 more LEO satellites for Starlink into position. Beginning next month, it should be a bit easier for broadband and cable subscribers to cut the cord. The Federal Trade Commission, in a landmark regulation called Click to Cancel or Negative Option Rule, that will go into effect May the 14th. The FTC's rule mandates that clear, accessible methods for terminating services are available to customers without having to navigate complex hurdles such as requirements to contact customer service during limited hours or sifting through lengthy phone menus to cancel. Cable and internet providers will have to rework their systems, ensuring that automatic renewals are transparent and easily reversible. Violation of the regulation could bring both large fines and legal repercussions from the FTC. Stargate will grow beyond the United States. SoftBank Group and OpenAI exploring the United Kingdom for the first international expansion of the $500 billion Stargate AI infrastructure project. Germany, France, the other contenders. Expansion to the UK would only happen if the joint venture gains success here in the U.S. The Stargate initiative was announced earlier this year with a goal of expanding AI infrastructure and computing capacity across the United States. The window for Oklahoma's BEAD program Pool 1 funding now open through May the 26th. Scoring criteria includes cost outlay per location, affordability, and fair labor practices. Pool 2 applications for non-fiber technologies may be submitted between April 28th and May 26th. Pool 3 applications for fiber in remaining areas have a window between May the 5th and May 26th, with other reliable technologies in remaining areas. That's Pool 4, submitted from May 12th through the 26th. Another massive AI-powered hyperscale data center expansion on the horizon. Stonepeak has launched Monterra Infrastructure with $1.5 billion equity commitment to serve the immense growth of AI and cloud workloads. Monterra will build and operate more than 100 turnkey data centers with better than 500 megawatts of capacity. Targeted areas, Tier 1 and Tier 2 metros, with a priority on locations with power access to facilitate quick deployment. Monterra is Stonepeak's fourth data center investment in North America and its eighth worldwide. That footprint includes assets such as Cologix, CoreSite, Digital Edge, and Sirion. Elsewhere, Philadelphia's Office of Innovation and Technology working to increase awareness of the city's expanding free Wi-Fi access. Officials recently announced a couple of new tools, the Philly Free Wi-Fi Finder and the Philly Free Wi-Fi Dashboard. Locations displayed on the Wi-Fi Finder include libraries, rec centers, parks and city buildings, along with centers for older adults. The city's ultimate goal is to bring public Wi-Fi service to all of its neighborhoods. Federal Communications Commission has released an agenda for its next open meeting, slated for consideration, establishing a framework for licensing the lower 37 gigahertz spectrum, clarifying foreign ownership rules, modernizing spectrum sharing for satellite broadband, and caller ID authentication on non-IP networks to block those ever-annoying robocalls. Ericsson had a decent first quarter with net income growing by 61%, but reports indicate that CEO Borge Ekholm may be heading for the door due to major shareholder displeasure over his $6.2 billion splurge to acquire U.S. software firm Vonage back in 2021. An $11 billion data center being built in northwest Indiana will have a 2,250 megawatt capacity. It will also use 17.7 megawatts of electricity. That's as much power as 1.5 million households would use, and that's roughly half of the homes in Indiana. Amazon Web Services building the new data center in New Carlisle, which is expected to support more than 3,000 jobs. Indiana and Michigan Power will serve the new Carlisle facility, and by 2030, the provider expects that new data centers will use twice as much electricity as all of its customers combined. Well, the just completed 41st annual WrestleMania took place in Las Vegas last week, with WWE legend turned actor John Cena crowned world champion for the 17th time. That's more than anyone else in WWE history. WrestleMania set an all-time record for revenue. On-site merchandise sales up 45% from last year. Viewership up 114% from 2024. Of course, WWE signed a deal with Netflix last January worth a cool $5 billion. And finally, YouTube has turned 20 and just celebrated 20 trillion uploaded videos. New capabilities recently debuted: non-sports multi-viewing on YouTube TV, 4x playback speed, customized radio stations, and much more. As a standalone company, YouTube estimated to be worth $550 billion, and at some point this year, it's on track to surpass Disney as the biggest media company by revenue. An average of more than 20 million videos uploaded to YouTube each and every day. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on This Week in the Broadband Universe.